Breaking news from the federal retrial of former LMPD Detective Brett Hankison. New at 6, we've learned a jury will be seated and sworn in the morning tomorrow morning on Friday, with testimony then likely to start next week on Monday. This video here from just this morning as Hankison and his attorneys arrived at the federal courthouse. Jury selection has now lasted for 3 days, starting at a pool of 150 people. They've narrowed it down significantly. We learned that information today. Isaiah Kim Martinez and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton are live with a new update for us. And Isaiah, what do attorneys have left to do before tomorrow morning? Of course, we're being told this could be up to a 3-week-long trial.
Doug, and this was the first long step to get there. We've been here for 3 days waiting for jury selection. We're told at this time that attorneys have narrowed down that jury list to 36, around 36, and they're of course working to get that down to the final 16. That's 12 jurors and 4 alternates, get them sworn in and seated by tomorrow morning. Of course, the big question becomes, will this be the first jury to convict Brett Hankison? I talked with some supporters of the Breonna Taylor movement who tell me they're hopeful it is.
No justice, no peace.
Sending a message at the steps of Louisville's federal courthouse. Breonna Taylor's aunt, Bianca Austin, alongside other family and friends, some traveling from out of town.
We want the state of Kentucky, the jurors, to listen to the evidence, listen to the facts, and just do the right thing.
They're hoping Brett Hankison's third trial, connected to that deadly raid on Taylor's home, leads to a conviction.
Feelings don't get us nowhere. Feelings not going to get us justice. It's right. The facts.
But the former LMPD detective and his attorneys know history has favored their case so far. A Jefferson County jury finding Hankison not guilty in 2022. Then a federal jury last November deadlocked, leading to a mistrial.
I've never heard of a police officer being charged with a wanton endangerment or a civil rights case related to firing a shot that didn't hit anybody, that was done after a police officer in that group was hit. I mean, this is unprecedented. It's never happened that I've ever known of.
That's Louisville attorney and former federal prosecutor Brian Butler. He's not involved in this trial, but explained how this civil rights case is different than your usual criminal prosecution.
Brett Hankison's being tried not for shooting anyone. He's being tried for firing a weapon that they say wasn't in. He didn't have a good sight line, and he could have hit somebody in a different apartment.
Butler's talking about the 3 people who were living in an apartment adjacent to Taylor's. Hankison is charged with violating their civil rights as well, when some of his gunshots flew through their home with a sleeping baby and a pregnant woman inside. One of the residents, Cody Etherton, testifying back in 2022.
Yeah, the whole thing was chaotic. From the time that I got woke up to a loud boom, gunfire coming through my wall, nearly killing me, could have struck my girlfriend. It was chaos. It was chaos.
Back at the federal courthouse, attorneys working privately for a 3rd day to finalize a jury.
Breonna Taylor! Breonna Taylor!
With folks on the outside waiting for word of when the trial will begin. And again, Doug, the jury will be sworn in and seated tomorrow with testimony likely to start on Monday. Doug.
Well, Bianca Austin, they're telling you listen to the facts, but last week the judge ruled against allowing certain evidence of Hankison's past issues and behavior at LMPD before the raid. Is this something, though, that is still being presented to the judge at this late hour?
Doug, that is the last question mark before this trial gets going is, will this evidence, specifically of Brett Hankison's previous incidents, ones that prosecutors say show him to act recklessly at times, will that evidence be allowed to be included in this trial? The judge ultimately said no last week, but she left the door open. What will her final decision be? We have word that we can expect a hearing potentially tomorrow that will decide that before the trial officially gets going. Doug.
All right, thank you very much. Another important development tomorrow, so stay tuned.